Hey YouTube, Ed here with Jack of all trades and welcome to another video. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about one of the most iconic lever action rifles ever made, the Savage Model 99. So let's just get right into the video. And welcome back. So yes, today we're going to talk about the Savage 99 lever action rifle. But before we do, as per the usual, I got to ask you to go down and hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you ring that notification bell so you get notified of upcoming videos. And if you're liking this kind of content, please let me know in the comments so I can continue to do more videos like this. I'm running out of rifles to talk about, so if there's something specific that you want me to talk about, let me know in those comments. I'll beg, borrow, and steal one if you want me to, and we'll go over the rifle together. So just one more thing before we get going on this video. These last few weeks in my life have been exceedingly hectic. My work has gone through a reorganization and a lot of our job roles have changed, and it's a very busy time of year for us at work right now. And then you add on top of that the fact that my daughter is graduating high school this year, so I got a high school graduation to deal with, and then I got to get her prepped and ready to go to college. That being said, I've been really diligent about making sure I get a video uploaded every week on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. That may or may not be the case here for a couple of times over the course of the summer. So if I should happen to miss a Saturday, I do apologize, but understand life is just kind of getting in the way right now. And my priority has got to be to my family and to my daughter and to get her all prepped up and going to college. And then daughter number one, who actually graduated last year, is going to college as well this year. So we actually have two kids to prep to get to college and get on their way down the path of life. So I apologize if I happen to miss a Saturday video. Please don't beat me up too bad over it, but I got to prioritize my family over my hobby, which is YouTube videos. All right, the Savage Model 99 rifle. This rifle is actually about one of the most iconic rifles that you'll ever find. And what's really neat about this rifle and why I kind of revolutionized the lever action rifle industry was the fact that it is missing a hammer. It is actually the first hammerless design lever rifle on the market. And so let's go over and let's just talk about a brief history of this rifle. So on July 25th of 1893, the U.S. Patent Office issued a patent to Arthur Savage for what was then called a magazine gun. I know that's improper terminology and that's not the way you describe a firearm, but that's what the Patent Office gave him. Now, Savage was born in Kingston, Jamaica in 1957, and he was a very astute businessman and inventor. He invented quite a few things, but in addition to this lever action rifle that he made, there is one other thing that everybody will know about that he also invented, and that's the radial tire, which is still the standard on all automotive vehicles to this day. So after the U.S. Patent Office gave Savage his patent for his magazine gun, he decided to model it as the 1895 Savage lever action rifle. And it was originally manufactured under contract by Marlin Repeating Arms, and it was chambered in the 303 Savage, which was a proprietary round for the new rifle. Now, the Marlin factory turned out about 5,600 of these new rifles, and they can be identified by a JM stamping that is on the rear portion of the barrel, right where the chamber would be, which would represent John Marlin, annotating that that rifle was actually made in the Marlin Arms Manufacturing Company. The 303 Savage is far different from, like, say, your 303 British, but it is very similar, although higher performing, to the 3030, which makes it an excellent and very capable deer hunting cartridge. However, the 303 Savage is now obsolete. You can't hardly find ammo for it, and if you do find ammo, it's usually vintage and it's collectible, and it's very, very expensive. But if you are an adventurous reloader, as I understand it, and I can't substantiate the process or anything like that, you can make 303 Savage brass out of modern cases or modern newer production cases. I've heard stories of 303 British brass being made into 303 Savage brass. I've heard stories of 220 Swift brass being made into 303 Savage brass. as well as 30-30 Winchester ammunition or brass has been made into 303 Savage brass. Now, like I said, I don't know the process and I can't substantiate that, but the 303 Savage is obsolete ammunition. And then along about 1894, somewhere in there, Arthur Savage started the Savage Arms Company in Utica, New York, and continued to manufacture the 1895 until the introduction of the 1899, or the Model 99, it is commonly referred to today. So as I stated, the Model 99 was originally offered in 303 Savage, but later on was offered in other chamberings because the Model 99 was giving Winchester a run for its money. So Arthur Savage, in all of his wisdom, started chambering the Model 99 in chambers like 30-30 or 25-35 or 32-40 or 38-55 Winchester, utilizing the Winchester calibers and ammunition that could be fired in his rifle. And that really started to take a lot of market share away from the Winchester company, because now you could fire Winchester cartridges that were used regularly, tried and true, in a new version rifle. And then later on, right around 1912 to 1920, through the efforts of Charles Newton, Savage started making rifles and ammunition for three new chamberings: the 22 high power, the 250 3000 Savage, and the 300 Savage, which were all very popular cartridges in the Model 99. However, the 300 Savage was by far and away the most popular and was actually kind of the standard, if you will, for the Model 99 Savage. Later on in years, the Model 99 also became the platform for many other more modern cartridges like the 7mm 08, the 22 250, 284 Winchester, 357 and 358 Winchester, as long as 243 and 308 Winchester. So the Model 99 has been around long enough and has enough chamberings in this platform where pretty much anybody could find a good use for it. If you're a coyote or a fox hunter, the 22 250 in the Model 99 Savage would have been a great fit. If you're a deer hunter, it's really hard to beat a 7mm 08 or a 308 or any of the chamberings actually that Savage offered in this rifle. As a result, hundreds of thousands of Model 99 rifles were produced by Savage Arms in almost a countless number of configurations until the rifle was discontinued in 1998. You could get these things in takedown models. You could get them in all the chamberings and calibers. Later on, you could get them with detachable box magazines. The wood styles changed, the wood types changed, many different various configurations on it. And true blue Model 99 collectors strive to get one of everything that they ever made, although that's a very daunting task because there are so many configurations, types, and models of this rifle. It would be really hard to do. But think about this. That's 103 years, over a century of continuous production of the Model 99 Savage and its older brother, the 1895. 103 years this rifle has been in production, and you still find them in the deer woods today. The Model 99 also quickly found recognition with a lot of law enforcement officers looking to get rid of their external hammer Winchester rifles, which actually dominated the law enforcement field for years. Texas Ranger Frank Hamer, who is credited with tracking down Bonnie and Clyde, he owned a Model 99 Savage, and there's actually a couple of pictures of him holding and shooting his Model 99 Savage, although it was a carbine model, and it was very likely, or it is thought to be, that it was chambered in 303 Savage. To add a little more fame and notoriety to the Model 99, famous explorer and adventurer Roy Chapman Andrews, whose exploits, it is said, contributed heavily to the film character Indiana Jones, and his fellow explorer, Reverend Harry R. Caldwell, author of Blue Tiger, hunted tigers with a Model 99 Savage in South China. Both of them got their animal, and as the story goes, the Model 99 Savages that they used for their tiger hunts were chambered in 22 high power. In fact, I found a picture of Harry Caldwell with his 400-pound tiger that he got when he was on that hunt. The Model 99 also made a few appearances in the movies. Robert Duvall used a very elegantly engraved and scope-mounted Model 99 in the 1972 Clint Eastwood movie Joe Kidd. Dan Haggerty also used a Model 99 Savage in the 1986 horror drama movie Abducted, about a young girl who was out jogging in the north woods of Canada, and she was abducted by a mountain man. So this rifle does have a little bit of fame and notoriety behind it, and a lot of people, a lot of famous people loved and used this rifle. So the Model 99 in many circles is to be considered one of the best, if not the best, deer gun of all time. So what made the Model 99 so popular? Well, the Model 99 Savage was renowned for its accuracy and smooth action. One of the reasons for the greater accuracy was due to the fact that the Model 99 could use Spitzer bullets. The rotary magazine of the Model 99 allowed the use of Spitzer or pointed bullets, unlike its tube-loading gun rack mates who had to use flat point or round nose bullets. And those pointed or Spitzer style bullets allowed for harder hitting, harder downrange energy because you could increase their speed, and then their ballistic coefficient also contributed greatly to their accuracy. So the fact that it could use a Spitzer bullet was a huge improvement over lever rifles of the day. Additionally, the Model 99 is a striker fired rifle, which means there is no hammer in this gun. It's not an internal hammer. This is actually a striker fired rifle. If you take it apart and take a look at it, you'll find no hammer in this gun. Why is that important? Because with a striker fired rifle, your lock time, or the time from you squeezing the trigger till the time the round actually goes off, is greatly reduced compared to that with an actual rifle that has a hammer on it. The hammers were just out of nature and out of physics, the way they are, a little bit slower on their lock time. There was a little bit more mass there to get moving. They had to change directions because they were on a hinge pivot, whereas a striker fired rifle, the firing pin is in a direct line, and it's got a spring under compression and under tension, so that when you pull the trigger and you drop the sear out of the way, it just has to go in one linear motion to hit the round and make the gun go off. A reduced lock time increases accuracy. There's no way to argue that. That does help. Anybody who's fired a muzzle loading rifle, say a flintlock or a percussion like a Hawken rifle, will tell you that follow through is hugely important because of the slow lock time. The faster you can make that lock time, or the shorter you can make that lock time, the more accurate the rifle is going to be, because the human body doesn't have time to react before the round goes off. Additionally, this rifle has got a really beefy and hefty breech lock, and it locks up solid to the backside of the receiver here. And this receiver is a one-piece receiver, so you can see when I pull the lever up, the breech block will come up and it will actually lock into place there. That is a really rugged and solid foundation, and it's strong enough to handle the high-pressure modern cartridges and smokeless powder cartridges of modern firearms. And that, again, just increases your accuracy, it increases your downrange energy, it increases your stopping power, and makes the Model 99 that much more desirable. Another feature that was truly ahead of its time with this rifle, and it was ahead of its time because it was the first hammerless lever rifle offered, was the fact that it does have a cocking indicator on it. Seeing as how this doesn't have an external hammer and you can't see if the hammer is cocked, you don't know if the gun is ready to fire. So Savage integrated this cocking indicator up here, which is nothing more than a pin that sticks up just a little bit. So when you're sighting down the barrel, you can just take a quick look there and you can see that the rifle is cocked and ready to go, as long as you've loaded a round into the chamber, of course. The rifle's also got a safety mechanism right down here on the backside of the trigger guard, which is actually very intuitive. I was very surprised by that. When you're carrying the rifle like this and you're walking through the woods, it's no big deal to come back here, flick off the safety, and put your finger on the trigger to shoot the rifle. And the neat thing about the safety mechanism on this rifle is it not only locks up the trigger mechanism inside the receiver, but it also locks the lever, so you can't work the lever while the safety is engaged. I personally am very enamored with the simplicity of this rifle. If you take this rifle apart, which is very easy to do, 2 screws on the butt plate, you run a long screwdriver down here, you take the the screw, the nut off the backside, and you pull the stock off and everything is right there. The simplicity of this rifle and how it works is incredible. Savage did a really good job of minimizing the amount of moving parts in this thing, and the Model 99 is the embodiment of simplicity. That's what made me fall in love with this rifle, because here's the deal. When my dad got this rifle and I was cleaning the guns and I was taking care of the guns and things of that effect, I was the one taking these apart. And when I realized how simple this gun was to disassemble and maintain, I immediately fell in love with it. It's just really been it's been in our family, well, for as long as I've been deer hunting, and I just really love how simple this rifle is. And in comparison to like the Model 94 Winchester, which in and of itself is an iconic rifle, that was a rifle I used my first year of deer hunting season, and that gun actually failed on me. And it failed on me because there's a lot of moving parts. And actually what had happened is one of the screws had backed out and the gun didn't operate. And once I got into the deer woods and I tried to work the lever to load around, I couldn't do it. So the gun was actually useless to me until we got back to my hunting cabin and we were able to find that there was a loose screw. We turned it in. This gun is so very simple with very minimal tools and very few moving parts. It's very easy to maintain. And the fact that there are less moving parts in this rifle, that means there's less to go wrong. So you add all this up and what do you get? You get a damn fine rifle is what you get. Owners and aficionados of the Savage 99 call it a true hunter's rifle, and I can't agree with them more. But as with everything, and the Model 99 is no different, nothing is perfect. And this rifle did have a couple of known issues. One of the known issues was this area back here of the buttstock is kind of thin in the wood when they came out of the factory, and they were known to crack in various locations around the tang and actually along the side of the cheek plates here. So if the rifle, when it came out of the factory, didn't have a proper wood fit, it didn't take a whole lot of rounds before that wood started to crack. Usually after a few years of use, if it didn't get oiled properly or something like that, that wood would get dry, it would get brittle, and it would crack after some usage. So you kind of got to keep an eye on that. Now, if you're out looking to buy a Model 99 Savage, it is highly likely that if it has lasted this long, it's probably going to be okay. But there are still a few of them floating around out there that could still crack after just a few more shots, especially the rifles that were made later on in the 80s and into the 90s before they discontinued the rifle, because they were using less expensive woods, they were using lighter woods, and then they were using heavier recoiling rounds like 308 and 358 Winchester and things like that. So these were prone to crack right here on the buttstock. And subsequently, additionally, the fore stocks were also very lightly built. In an effort to keep the rifle as light as possible, they took as much wood away as they possibly could, because overall the rifle is a little bit heavy. This is a really beefy chunk of steel they've got back here in the receiver, and they really built this part of the rifle up well, which is why they last so long. But the wood is where they sacrificed a little bit of integrity to get the weight down. Additionally, if you've got an older Model 99 like this rifle here, I believe this rifle was made in like 1931, mounting a scope to this rifle is inherently difficult because it's not tapped and drilled for scope mounts. And if you do tap and drill a rifle like this for scope mounts, it is borderline sacrilegious. In fact, I think it's actually illegal in some states, and if it's not, it probably should be, because these rifles are, if you don't drill any extra holes in them and stuff, they retain their value a whole lot better. But in 1952, they started tap and drilling these rifles right out of the factory. So if you've got a newer version of this, 1952 and newer, it should be tapped and drilled for a scope mount. Now, if you do have one of these older rifles, all hope is not lost. For a mere $300 to $500, you can get a scope mount made by a company called Stith, which is no longer in business and no longer makes mounts, that will actually mount a scope to this rifle using the existing holes in the rear tang, and then you actually knock out the front sight and you use the dovetail on the front sight for the front scope mount. Some of them had a big long tube up here where you had to have a straight tube like a Weaver 2.5K scope that you could slide into that tube. Some of those configurations were used. And then additionally, some of them actually had a 1-inch scope ring that you would mount up here. Now, needless to say, this dovetail really wasn't designed to hold a scope under heavy recoiling rifles. So that could be an issue. Maybe it won't. It all depends on how good your dovetail is. And then finally, in the later years, in the 80s and the 90s, when Savage was actually using cheaper wood to make these rifles, and the rifle was chambered in a little heavier hitting caliber like 308 Winchester, these things had a fair bit of recoil to them. I've got a friend of mine who's got a Model 99C, and the C annotates that it's got a removable box magazine for clip fed. Again, the wrong terminology, but that's what it was. He's got a Model 99C chambered in 308. The gun is very light in comparison to this rifle, but it kicks like a baby mule. I mean, that thing is really a ball buster, and it has been the deliverer of more than one scope eye from a friend who has shot that thing on the bench. Ask me how I know. But overall, the Savage 99 is a classic hunting rifle. It doesn't have many faults, and the faults that it does have are actually pretty minimal in respect to that, other than the fact that the wood does have a tendency to crack. But if you took care of the rifles, that really wasn't an issue. And if the wood fitting was good, it really wasn't an issue. To this day, you can go to the deer woods and you have a pretty high likelihood of seeing a Model 99 Savage in the woods. That there's so many of them out there, and they were so popular, and they're just as effective and reliable today as they were all the way back in 1895 when the rifle was first conceived. And there you have it, a little bit of history and a little bit of discussion on the Model 99 Savage. I really love these rifles. I collect them. I have a few of them myself, and I've always just really been very, very in love with these rifles ever since the first time that this is the first time I saw one, was my dad's, and I've just really liked them. I've hunted with Model 99 Savages. I've shot deer with Model 99 Savages, and I just really like the rifle. And I personally don't think you've actually hunted deer unless you've killed a deer with a lever action rifle with iron sights. That to me is the true mark of a real deer hunter. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Now, if you're liking these kind of videos, please make sure you go down in the comments and let me know, and then do me the solid of hitting that like and subscribe button. Make sure you ring that notification bell so you get notified of upcoming videos. Although that's a bit of a moot point because I upload a new video every week on Saturday morning, 8 o'clock without fail, like clockwork. That being said, I would just like to reiterate what I said earlier in the introduction was, this has been a really busy time of the month with work and my youngest daughter graduating from high school and things like that. And I just really haven't had time to sit down and do a couple of videos. So there might be a weekend or two here in the near future where I might not put a video up. And I apologize for that. Just life got in the way. And quite honestly, as much as I love doing YouTube videos, my daughter's graduation and this milestone in her life is far more important to me. So I'm going to make sure I do that right and get those things done before I worry about what's going on with YouTube. I got to get her a car ready for going to college. We've got college stuff to do. It's just going to be a really busy time here in the next few weeks. So if I miss one here and there, please don't beat me up too bad over it. With that, this is Ed from Jack of All Trades. Thank you for stopping by, and as always, we'll see you on the next video.